Chapter 1314. Wilbur looked at him silently. Hopelessness filled Simu all at once, and he pointed the barrel to his temple before pulling the trigger without hesitation. A gunshot sounded through the air. Blood sprayed out of the back of Simu's head as he fell to the ground then and there. Wilbur sneered, turning away, and boarding one of the trucks. "Stand guard here and wait for my return." The military truck sped off the very next second. Just then, Carl came up to the border. Cameron, Dawson, and the members of the church militia stood around him silently. Everyone looked at the Scorpion Army soldiers in their crazed state. Carl's gaze narrowed. "Kill them." The church militia stormed the fleet, stabbing all the crazed soldiers to death. These people had already lost their minds and still remained in a state of extreme terror and hopelessness. They muttered to themselves while trying to cause harm to their bodies, tearing at their hair and clawing at their skin. Some of the soldiers even stabbed themselves with their army-issued daggers, shouting loudly. Killing them would actually be an act of mercy. After taking everyone down, the church militia retreated to the other side of the border. Cameron piped up then, "Archbishop, what's His Holiness gone off to do?" "He's gone to save the President Tyrone," said Carl. Cameron was shocked. "On his own?" "Yup." Carl nodded. Wilbur drove the military truck into the wee hours of the morning, speeding through a few cities before reaching the capital of Teria, Horo City. He stopped the truck on the outskirts of the city, heading inside on foot. There were hardly any people inside at this hour, and Wilbur walked all the way to the entrance of the presidential headquarters. The two guards on duty shouted at once, "Step away from the presidential headquarters." Wilbur took a step forward, and the guards drew their weapons at once. The next second, however, Wilbur waved a hand. One of the guards' heads fell clean off his head, landing on the ground with a thud as the other looked on in pure terror. Wilbur came up to him. "Where are they keeping President Tyrone Simmons?" "They there." The guard looked terrified but seemed hesitant to say anything. Wilbur sneered, casting a fear spell on the guard. His face drained of color at once, eyes darting around in terror. "Where is President Tyrone being kept?" "In the dungeon." "Take me there." Yes." The guard began heading into the presidential headquarters, Wilbur following behind him. Everyone in the building was asleep at this hour, and it was not long before Wilbur was led down what seemed like a secret passage to a hidden door. There were two guards watching the door there. "Who's there?" As soon as his words rang through the air, a sword aura struck all three guards and separated their heads from their bodies. The door flew open with a harsh kick, and Wilbur walked inside. He was greeted with an underground passage, which Wilbur walked into. The passage was long and winding, and dimly lit. Wilbur strolled along casually, taking care of the yawning guards that he came across until reaching deep into the passage. A single figure sat under the dim light. Wilbur took a step up, raising a hand to cast a light spell. The ball of light filled the cellar. A blond man with Western features sat on a chair in the middle of the cellar, smiling at Wilbur. Next to him was Tyrone, in a completely inhumane state. "Michael?" Wilbur's gaze narrowed.